a formal complaint against Dr. Michelle Maridao and the Clare Health Center. Right, so it's a very, very important video. Thank you very much for clicking onto this. This will highlight a whole bunch of systemic issues, and this video is quite important. All right, so Dr. Michelle Dao, this is a member of my family. It's actually a member of my family, and I am quite shocked at what I was able to uncover. All right, so what is she alleged of being, culpable of? Well, that is a gross medical misconduct and wrongful death, right? So wrongful death here being the most egregious of these crimes or torts, so actions resulting in the loss of a child, right? So it's the direct causal factor in the death of it's a fully viable pregnancy. The baby boy, baby girl was healthy. The stages of development were natural and all that stuff. So this was, for sure wrongful death and medical negligence. There's information, fraud and all that stuff. So misrepresentation of the truth and all that stuff. Well, we're going to talk about that today. There's lots and lots of material, so we're going to get down to it. So we can read this. If you're interested, you can pause the video. But basically, what it says is that there's a current tide in the public perception, which is not based upon evidentiary science and all that stuff. So this one is based upon truth, justice, and accountability. So it's not. It's about the to get to the bottom of medical ethics, the rights of the patients to be informed, and the integrity of the system, the healthcare system, not only the healthcare system but the regulatory body, right, the oversight committee that regulates these doctors, which we'll see that there's some serious problems there. So there's a failure in the duty of care. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to continue on. All right. So the letter directly addressed to Dr. Dan. So we're going to read this. It's, you do not deserve to be called a doctor. In a just and civilized society, one that upholds truth and integrity rather than the lawlessness of an immoral jungle, your actions merit incarceration for life without any eligibility for parole for 25 years to be served concurrently for each child that you killed. Okay, you have killed my child. My child was inherently valuable. My child was worth 1,000 of you. You did not have the right to take my child's life. No deceptive words, no industry fabricated definitions, and no justifications will ever change that fact. You have committed an irreversible wrongdoing, and your dishonor is now inescapable. You will leave a legacy behind, not of healing, but of disrepute. Every action has consequences, and I assure you, this will not be forgotten. So what happened, right? So the pregnancy was viable. There was the baby boy or baby girl was conceived, right? A 50% father's DNA, 50% mother's DNA. This baby boy or baby girl was healthy, right, and developing naturally onto the stage of implantation. Now, the altered endometrium, and that's where a lot of people will not understand. The birth control actually, kills the baby, does not prevent the conception there, and a lot of people will just not accept that. But it certainly is true. It doesn't matter how many people do not accept that. It is true. The altered endometrium is the method in which the babies will die. These healthy, viable pregnancy, like I said, viable. There's no medical necessity for the death of this baby. This baby is a very, very, valuable, right? And the value of this child certainly cannot be underestimated. And just in case you didn't get that message, right? I did translate it into the native language of French, which is our. I mean, like I said, she's my cousin, right? So there's no right for her to remove the life, the essence of the life of my child, and that's what this is all about. This is a valid complaint. Okay. All right, so I'm for submitting a formal complaint, and I did that. I first went to the Clare Health Center, and I said, hey, Dr. Dow has a clear duty of care to provide full and accurate medical information, and that information is that these drugs are called what is called abortifacient. And what does that mean? Abortion? Yes, they do cause abortions, right? They do not prevent the conception there. The sperm will successfully meet the egg. A new baby will be conceived. It is a viable pregnancy, and the baby will die as a result of this abortifacient effect here. Well, you can read this if you're interested. It is we do have to go because there's lots and lots of material here. This is that any physician sworn to protect life would knowingly participate in such an act without informing those directly affected is an egregious breach of trust and is horrifying that so many lives are lost this way, unrecognized and uncounted, simply because the truth is conveniently ignored. And a lot of people would not even know that. Because why? Because the failure to disclose and acknowledge and to respect humanity of these lives is not just a failure of medicine, it's a failure of morality itself. So a lot of people will not know. Why? Because Dr. Dow will certainly not volunteer that information. Why? Because she's not a doctor. She is an industry representative, right? So she's not a doctor. And like I said, it's like a chimpanzee with a machine gun. I would say that, but it's just insulting the chimpanzee way too much, right? The chimpanzee with a machine gun has so much more honor and integrity than Dr. Michelle Dow here. And I'm not even being funny. I would not stoop so low as to insult the chimpanzee that much. When you're killing babies, I mean, don't underestimate the seriousness of this situation. There is no word left in your mouth. The only place where you belong is in the prison for a period of life without the eligibility for parole for 25 years. This is a baby killer. A baby killer, right? There's nothing worse, and so many victims. Anyway, and here's the dismissal of the complaints, right? So upon review, Dr. Dow has taken your concern into consideration and it has been concluded that Dr. Dow never prescribed any form of birth control to yourself. We will consider this issue resolved on our end. Okay, so just because I'm the dad, then I don't get to complain. Number one, because Dr. Dow deceived the mother of the children. Okay, number one, the mother deceived the woman, the woman into believing that these are just going to prevent the conception, right? So that's number one. She deceived her successfully, right? There was a successful deception there. And number two, because I'm the father, I don't get to. I'm 50% DNA of this child is mine, right? I am the father, right? So I don't get to complain because And here's a very very important consideration here. He didn't consider very much that that this was not a patient at all because there's no illness, right? What is the illness? A naturally functioning reproductive system. Is that what's wrong with the person? Is she a patient, right? That this sometimes it's even 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old young lady will go and Dr. Dow will say, oh yeah, there's something wrong with you. It's your naturally your natural fertility is the problem, and this is a problem, and then she will prescribe the quote unquote medicine for that illness, right? It's not medicine. It's not a medicine. It's not an illness. It's a perfectly natural part of your body, which is the reproductive system. There's no illness, right? And so that person is not a patient. But anyway, since I'm the father, well, I don't get to complain. That's what they're saying here. This is the clerk or the assistant manager, and she goes by the pronouns of she, her, hers. Okay, good enough. All right, so let's continue on. So, I said, I see that you said this, but due to the nature of your refusal, this raises an entirely new matter, right? And you're interested. If you're interested, we do have to go, but this is just flawed logic and reasoning, and there's no need to dismiss a complaint, on this technicality that since I'm the father, I don't get to complain. Since the deception was successful, like I said, that there was a successful deception there. All right, we'd have to go, but that basically says the child who died shared 50% of my DNA. This answer is inadequate and quite challenging to grasp as to what the mindset of the doctor when she wrote this, right? Well, the mindset of the doctor is she's a baby killer, right? So she's a depraved lunatic, right? And I'm not saying that as an insult. If you look up the word lunacy and depravity, you'll see that she is a depraved lunatic. I'm not insulting her. I mean, I'm just stating a fact, right? She's a depraved lunatic. So Here's the, oh man, I wish we had some more time, but let's continue on. All right, so the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Nova Scotia. So, no, this is the regulatory body. So for sure, they're going to provide a full, independent review, and they will surely have the best interest of the patient at heart. Well, you're going to see here that they're not even trying. They're not even trying to make the facade, and they're not trying to have any type of perception of fair accountability and all this stuff. They're the only thing this is for is to shield. All right, shield who the this Dr. Michel. All right, so I'm filing a formal complaint, and you can read this here. Basically, everything that we says here. These birth control pills do not prevent conception, and it's very very sad if you think about it. This small boy or small girl is so valuable. Is so valuable, and the deception was successful, and the only reason that the mother of my child accepted this treat, it's not a treatment, but anyway, these pills, the only reason that she accepted that, or actually paid money for these pills, was because, or it was an IUD or something like that, was because of the deception there. So locked her down, lied, and all that stuff. So anyway, instead of addressing the substance of my complaint, I received a response dismissing it on the grounds that I was not the direct recipient of the prescription, despite the fact that my biological child was affected. I'm 50%, I am the dad. I'm the dad. I am literally the father. I'm missing a 10-year-old. It's really, really, really egregious. This is a serious, serious um, crime, right? I have suffered a great loss. All right, so this dismissal raises serious concerns regarding transparency, accountability, and the ethical responsibilities of Dr. Dow in providing full and truthful medical information to her patients. All right, so we're going to continue on. I maintain respectful communication with the college, whether in writing, over the phone, or in person. Yeah, I do. I certainly do, and I did, and you'll see that in these communications. All right, so here's the receipt, and then the dismissal. All right, so here we get into the dismissal, and I specifically said in my complaint that there's no reason to dismiss the complaint because I am the father. I mean, that is just illogical. And then here, look at what this guy says. Your understanding is that the birth control given does not always prevent fertilization, but instead alters the uterine lining, preventing implantation, which results in the death of a newly conceived life. Your understanding is that. So, I mean, your understanding is that? Well, yes, that is my understanding because that is what the pharmaceutical industry say, and that's what Dr. Dow will fail to inform the patients. It's not just my the understanding of a crazy guy. No, this is actually what's going on. I mean, embryologists are clear that the baby is conceived, and then after that, it will. I mean, very very natural progression of development, which is the implantation into the endometrium, right? This nonsense about your understanding is that that's foolishness. This is all, the only thing this is a do you ever play dodgeball in high school, right? You're throwing the ball, you're trying to you move your body to try not to get smashed by the ball. Well, this is exactly what it is, right? So it's just a bunch of school kids playing on the playground, so basically and look at this. So Dr. Dow was not asked to provide a written response to your complaint. And please, pause the video and look at this. I guess we're gonna have to do another video about this, but I mean, we're running low on time. And then he has the authority to dismiss the complaint. And I didn't want to do any kind of investigation because the number one thing that if you look here at the Medical Act regulations, which we're gonna do right. All right, and here are the Medical Act regulations. So the resolution of complaint by registrar. So taken into account the results of preliminary investigation, the registrar must do one or more of the following things. Is to the number one thing that they are tasked to do is to dismiss the complaint. Right? Isn't that the last step after after you've done the proper investigation and you tried hard to find the information? You've asked the doctor for a response. You've asked for more information relevant to the matter, right? So you see that, right? So taking into account the results of a preliminary investigation, the only investigation was that there was no investigation, and the number one thing that these guys, their only job is to dismiss the complaint. So they're working backwards. They say, how? Okay, so we got a complaint. How am I going to dismiss this complaint? Well, we're going to dismiss. Oh, this guy's the father. He cannot complain about his child died because he's not the mother. Oh, that's great for us because the mother was successfully deceived, so it works great for us. This is a wonderful, very, very convenient. So we're going to dismiss the complaint. That's exactly what happened. We're going to do a part two, I suppose, because we got a lot of material to cover. I'll see you in the next video.